Hello everyone, how are y'all doing today? Thank you so much for tuning into my very first video. I know it can be, you don't just go on YouTube and click on any video and watch, a bunch of videos. You really, like if you see one that you like, then, you choose that one. So I really appreciate you taking the time to check this video out. My name is Matt Strauss, and this is the first ever video for the green fishing machines. And I'll give you a little background on how that name began. It began, I don't know, like 8 years ago, a long time. Yeah, so my dad and I and my family, we fish competitive salmon fishing tournaments. And so originally the channel was called the Green Machine, the Green Fishing Machines, I believe. Or I wanted to call it the Team Green Machine, I think I wanted to call it. But the guy who helped me edit the thing put in an extra, Team Green Machine. So he put an F in on accident. So he put TGFM. So we're now the Green Fishing Machines. Yeah, so it actually works out very well because, like I said, we were originally salmon fishermen on Lake Michigan. So now I have adjusted more over to bass fishing. So it honestly, it's kind of awesome how like 8 years later the name can still work. The Green Fishing Machines because largemouth are green. So that's pretty awesome. And yeah, so a little bit more background on the salmon fishing. So that's originally how I fell in love with fishing. And the reason why we're called Team Green Machine is because we had a 17-foot Sylvan. And this Sylvan we took out on Lake Michigan and competed competitively. We competitively entered in these salmon fishing tournaments. And I've been doing it since I was 5 years old. My dad started doing it when he was younger, like when he was, in his 20s. And we would go against these boats on Lake Michigan. So we're taking our 17-foot Sylvan, competing against boats that are 30, 40 feet, big ocean, like basically ocean boats that cost, 100 grand, 80 grand, all that. So, and we're competing in this little green Sylvan. So it has a big stripe down the middle. It's a green. So we called it the Green Machine because that's essentially what it was. We would take it out in 3 to 4 footers on Lake Michigan and compete and whoop some of those bigger boats in the tournaments. So we actually got second in Angler of the Year using that little green boat. So it transfers nice because it just kind of teaches you, yes, like having all that big, nice equipment and the big boat and the big, the awesome equipment is great, but there's no excuse. When you get out there, you can win. It's not impossible to compete with, the equipment that you have. So yeah, that's I've transferred that over to bass fishing, competing in college fishing tournaments in that little green boat. It can only get up to like 30 miles per hour. But, like I said, you can't complain. You have to use what you got and fish till the very last minute. So, yeah, so I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of background on what, you're going to see in my channel. So, like I told you, I'm a salmon fishing tournament angler. I fish perch in the winter on the Calumet River, and also on like Navy Pier. I forgot to tell y'all that I'm from the Chicagoland area, not from Chicago. I don't want to get yelled at for telling people I'm from Chicago, but yeah, I'm from the suburbs outside of Chicago, so about 30 minutes from Chicago. And yeah, we perch fish there. We go ice fishing there. I go to Canada all the time. Next week I'm going to Canada, so we have some videos there. I just, like about a year ago, 2 years ago, ever since I came to college, about my sophomore year, I really started to fall in love with bass fishing. and I realized we had a team here at Augustana College. That's the college that I go to, and yeah, so I just fell in love with it, and salmon fishing has got a spot in my heart. Same with perch, but there's something about those green fish, man, and the smallmouth that just jump out of the water, and it reminds me of if you've ever fished for rainbow trout or steelhead, it gives me that feeling when they jump out of the water and you're just like freaking out, and it just got your blood pumping. So yeah, I just fell in love with bass fishing, and especially if there was no tournaments, I don't think I would fall in love with bass fishing as much, because I'm a very competitive person, and growing up doing the salmon fishing tournaments in that small little green boat, it just gave me, you know, it gave me the experiences of, okay, I need to be in at this certain time, I need to manage my my gear, I need to get all that ready and prepared. So that really helped me get into the bass fishing pretty quickly. So next I'm gonna continue talking more about this channel will be mostly bass fishing and stuff, but I also fish walleye and stuff. With my dad, we go to Lake Erie, we fish for walleye there in Canada. So if you're subscribing to this channel, I've also gone marlin fishing in Mexico before too. That was really fun. So if you're subscribing to this channel, we do walleye tournaments. We haven't done one yet, but we're planning on doing like the big walleye brawl. We're planning on going to these awesome bass fishing tournaments, these big ones. We fish in salmon tournaments all summer, so there will be a lot of tournaments, and it'll give you all kind of different tournaments and different species of fish. So it's not just completely bass but I will say most of it I'd say about half of it will be bass fishing, due to me competing in the Illini division. And I started making these YouTube videos really because Randy Blockett is one of my favorite YouTubers and one of my favorite fishermen of all time. And some of you might not know who it is, but if y'all have YouTube and you like fishing, I'm sure that you've seen some of his videos. They're incredible, they're great, very informative, and he inspired me to actually start my own channel. So I owe all this for him inspiring me and stuff to get this done and to make videos. So I just love how he's willing to share information and giving his opinions, even if they're unpopular, or and also he answers a lot of those comments. There's hundreds of comments, I'm talking lots of comments, and he answers most of them. And same with Matt Steffen, he's incredible with answering and commenting and stuff, and his videos, they both make multiple videos a day, which is incredible. They have hundreds of videos and thousands of subscribers, and they definitely deserve it, because how many hours and how many, their effort they put into their videos. So props to them, and thank them for, hopefully they'll see this or something and be like, oh, that's nice. So yeah, so moving on, I'm going to talk about fishing for MLF as a co-angler in these BFLs. First stop of the year was at Lake Shelbyville Lake in southern Illinois, in Shelbyville. That one, originally, I'll tell you the reason why I decided to do these tournaments. Originally, I did them because I was competing as a college angler, and me and my buddy, we use each other's boats sometimes. So sometimes I'm controlling the trolling motor, or sometimes he is, depending on what boat we take. But we're both originally salmon fishermen and walleye, so bass is like maybe probably number 3 or 4 on the list. So we've been struggling together, and even already incredible anglers and already experienced bass fishermen know how tough it can be out on the water. So we just started competitive bass fishing about a year or 2 ago, and we've already, we're getting much better each time we go out. So, and that's a big reason why I wanted to speed that process up a little bit by doing these BFLs and learning from pros and learning the different waters, because the one I'm on today is Ohio River, so you get to fish on rivers, lakes, different waters that might be similar to other waters that we might go to, such as like maybe the Mississippi River or Lake St. Clair or something like that. So yeah, back to originally the main topic is me fishing in the BFLs as a co-angler. The first stop, we went to Shelbyville, and I've never been there, but I got matched with an incredible pro. Many of you probably know his name. His name's Michael Black. He's very, like, I told my dad I was paired up with Michael Black, and immediately looked him up and saw the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's won in tournament winnings, and he was like, I think you're set for the day. And I was like, oh no. But completely nice guy, super. He actually would set me up, like we were both able to fish, and he was very aware of me and and where I was casting, and he would always ask like, hey, are you good, like back there, you got enough room, or stuff like that. And I probably talked his ear off so much, but not one time was he angry or anything like that, or annoyed. He was out there. Now for he is fast, man. Like if he wants to go, he's got his reel in the water, straps his thing on, maybe in like 2 seconds. Like I'm like reeling in it because I only have mostly spinning rods, so those are all pretty low gear ratio, so I'm like trying to reel in my bait really fast. So long story short, it was an amazing day. He's an incredible fisherman. He got his 5, and I think he got 9th or 10th, I believe, in the tournament. So he did amazing, and he put me on fish for sure. I probably lost 5 to 6 keepers. I would say I was throwing around a jerkbait, and I wasn't, honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest, I wasn't expecting to catch any. I've heard how tough Shelbyville was, and at this time it was in May, I believe, so it was it was pretty tough. And right off the bat, I caught I didn't catch, but I hooked a couple fish, and one got off at the boat, jumped off right at the boat, and it was a solid keeper. And then make a long story short, I caught 3 keeper bass. They were solid, about 2 pounds, close to 2 pounders. And for on Shelbyville as a co-angler, that's a pretty good finish. If you catch 3 fish, then you're usually you're gonna get a check. That's usually how it goes. So I think I got 14th or 17th, maybe 14th, something like that. So I cashed a check in my first ever co-angler tournament, first ever BFL anything. And that, I know people say there's some guys that have not cashed checks yet, and they've been doing it for years, and I'm just completely humbled and overjoyed that I got a check. And then the next tournament was in July, and it was about a month after the first tournament, so the conditions seemed very similar to me, and I was throwing that jerkbait again, and I caught him. I was catching so many short fish. And to go back on the first tournament, I caught maybe 6 walleye, I caught a muskie, I caught 3 crappie. So it was just, all the other fish were biting, but not the bass. Well, the bass were, but not, I wasn't able to connect and keep them hooked. So the second tournament, I was catching, oh my gosh, if it was a 12-incher, if it was a 12-inch limit, I would have, 2 limits that day. But you know how it is. So, but yeah, I caught right at the first 10 minutes I catch a keeper, and I'm like, wow, this is gonna be a good day. Like, I can tell, like, it's great. The sun was out, but it was covered. It wasn't that sunny. It was kind of chilly in that morning, and I was like, okay, I feel like the jerkbait's gonna do really good this morning. A nice a matted jerkbait, like a white mat jerkbait, and yeah, I thought that would do pretty good, and I got a couple bites and a lot of small fish, and then it started to die down. The sun came out, it was really hot, and it just wasn't doing it for me, and I had to go a little bit more finesse. The locations we were fishing were pretty much, we were a little shallow, then we went offshore. So I did not have a deep diving jerkbait, so all I had was a shallow one. So I didn't think the fish were as aggressive enough to come up for that bait in the depth of the water that we were in. So I had to switch to, drop shot and, baits that kind of were on the bottom a little bit. But I still wanted to, keep something on the bottom a little bit, because my boater wasn't fishing on the bottom at all times. He was fishing a little bit differently. So I wanted to keep something I wanted to throw something that was different than my boater. And my boater was WileyX. And if any of you know him, he's in the top of the points each tournament, he's in. He's always in the top 30, 40, top 20, top 10. But in the angler of the year, he's always in the top 5. He's an incredible angler. He's a young guy, like he's a really young guy, and I got to fish with Michael Black, which is he was definitely a veteran, and then WileyX, little younger, but both just, I think I got the best anglers on Shelbyville, 2 tournaments in a row. So that was incredible. So I think he got like 12th or 14th, Riley did in that tournament, and he had some solid fish. The weights were a little higher, I believe, at this tournament. Not very much at all, but the same Lake Shelbyville. And I ended up catching one at the beginning of the day, and then one literally like 10 minutes at the end of the day. So I think what happened was early in the day, there was lower light conditions. Then way late in the day, it was lower light conditions too. So I brought that jerkbait out, and he took me to a spot that he was like, he told me, hopefully he probably won't mind me saying this, as long as I don't tell anyone where his spot is. But he was like, this is where I caught this 6-pounder when he won at Shelbyville before, like last year or a couple years ago. And he was like, this is where I caught that 6-pounder. And he was like, cast right up, right there. And I did. And then I was, working my jerkbait, and then boom, it feels like a big fish. Like whatever it is, I set the hook, and I'm got him, and it just feels like real heavy, man. And it comes up, and it's a walleye, and I'm like, it's a pretty nice walleye. It's like 21 incher, and I'm like, dang. So then I check my line, check for nicks and everything, and cast it right back out there, same spot, because I'm hoping there, if there's a walleye around there, that maybe there'd be some bait fish over there or other fish too. And then I start, working the jerkbait, and then boom, I catch one, and I'm like, and then Riley goes, oh, there's another walleye. And I was like, oh. So I'm reeling it back, and then boom, fish jumps out of the water, and he's like, oh, that's not a walleye. So we're reeling it in, and then I end up getting it in. So it was a solid fish, right at keeper at the end of the day. So those 2 fish got me at 33rd place. So 33rd right there. And so right now I'm sitting in the first tournament. I was sitting obviously in like 14th place, because that's how many points were in the first tournament. But the second tournament I got 33rd, so I thought like, oh, I'm gonna go down in the points. But I guess the same guys didn't do as good, and I got moved up to 10th, or 9th, or I don't know, 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that. I was tied for the Angler of the Year points or whatever, for that. Excuse me. So going into Rand Lake, now it's a little later. It's in, oh, I apologize. Okay, so May was the first Shelbyville, then June was the next Shelbyville, then July is the Rend tournament. So the Rend tournament's in July. I've heard Rend is just super hard, man. Like I'm talking like you'll catch no fish in a whole day like that. Like you will just, you know, if you've never been there, it can be really tough, and you just grind it out all day. Even the guys who win, you know, don't hammer them. They just get their 5, they get their solid 5. And then, so yeah, I get matched up with, I'm completely blanking on his name right now. I feel really bad, but he was an incredible guy. The reason I don't remember his name is because he fishes Ren, but he's not in any of the other BFLs. So he just decided to jump in Ren just because he knows the lake. He's a local guy, so a local stick on the lake. Incredible fisherman. We go to our first spot. I'm throwing that jerkbait again. I love the jerkbait because we're on riprap. It's perfect for a jerkbait. Low light conditions again. It's a little chilly. I think it's perfect for it. The water's not super dingy. It's not super clear either, and that's what I like to use, you know, something that can kind of stick out. And that's what I was doing, and I caught 2 fish right away. They were about 13 inches, 12 to 13 inches, so close to being keepers. And I was excited. I was like, okay, we're just gonna rotate, you know, we're gonna hit these rocky points, and I'm gonna keep catching fish. You know, hopefully I'll get 1 or 2 that are keepers on the 14-inch mark, because I know just 1 or 2 fish will get me enough points to, you know, sustain that 10th place. And right after I catch those fish, he's like, okay, there's not good fish on these rocks. Like they're small, you know, they're not very big, so we're gonna go completely do something else. And that's totally cool with me. But I was just like, oh, my heart sank because what I wanted to do, we couldn't do. So throwing the jerkbait is my favorite thing to do. So when we had to switch, I was a little upset. Not verbally upset or anything like that. No, just like mentally, I was like, oh no, we're doing something different. Which that's the first mistake I made. Then he was we were doing something else. We were flipping and pitching and stuff. And you know, he's catching some here and there. It seems like every 30 minutes or so he gets a fish. And he was just plugging away at them all day. He was plugging away at them, and he got his 5. And for some reason, I don't like throwing the same thing as my pro. Like I don't want to flip if he's flipping, you know, but I was kind of in a position where I had to, right? So I decided to throw a drop shot and flip that, just because it was a little different. I'm staying on the, you know, bottom, and it's not like I'm popping this bait or anything like that, or, you know, I'm slowly dragging this bait, hoping, you know, to catch 1 keeper or something like that. Just get my confidence up, flipping and stuff. And I'm just not able to you know, do anything with that. I keep snagging stuff, keep breaking off lures. I switched to a spinnerbait. I switched to all kinds of things that trying not to flip. And excuse me, later in the day, I don't have any fish. You know, it's been a long time since I caught any, and he's been doing the same thing, right? He's doing the same thing, and he's been, you know, getting a solid limit. Then, you know, the tournament's over. I don't catch any fish that tournament. I think he got 10th or 11th, I think. But so far, all my pros have gotten, you know, top 15. I'm not even kidding you. Every single pro I've gotten has gotten top 15. And they are great fishermen. Don't get me wrong. They're amazing fishermen. But I'm pretty good with that net, you know. I get those fish in. I will say there was, he set the hook on a fish, and he reeled it in really fast. And then I wasn't able to get up there in time, and the fish was like behind the boat essentially. Like we were flipping close. He set the hook, the fish ran at the boat, and he didn't flip the fish in the boat. So I was in a position where the fish was so close to the boat, I couldn't even get the net down there to scoop that fish in. So what I did, I went down there and grabbed that fish and yanked him in the. I didn't grab the line because that's not good. So I grabbed the fish and I just pulled him in, and. Man, look at that guy's face originally, but I was like, dude, I had to do that because that's the only way I was gonna get that fish in the boat. without hitting him on the head with a net. So, but he did say after, he was like, oh, that's my fault. I should have just flipped that fish, because he was close. I mean, he was right on the edge of that timber. He set the hook and got that fish pretty close to the ball. Randy Bucket always says it wouldn't be one of his YouTube videos without a loud noise interruption. So I guess that makes two of us, huh, Randy? But yeah, so yeah, I ended up getting not catching a fish, and that was frustrating. Going from 2 tournaments doing pretty good and catching fish. I was very confident going into this tournament because I thought I could make something happen. He told me we might be fishing riprap and stuff, so I got excited because I that's probably my favorite structure to fish. So I was really excited. But you know how things go. Really good fishermen don't go in with a set mindset that they're going to fish one thing all day and then just do that all day. He went with what he thought the conditions would for that exact moment, and it paid off for him. He didn't catch anything before on the riprap, and then he switched over to what he thought their fish would be, and boom, he caught he got 9th place in the tournament. So that's and I will say I learned more at Rend than those Shelbyville tournaments that I did good at. I learned so much from my pro. I asked him so many questions, and in that, I told him how I love the Mississippi River. That's probably my favorite fishery for bass. He's great at Rend. He loves Rend, and he likes the southern fisheries too, like the Ozarks and all that. And he was like, hey, if you're ever down here, you ever need some help or information, I'm totally willing to talk to you and help you in any way. He shook my hand, and I was like, hey. And he goes, if I'm ever up in the Mississippi, I'm on the river or anything, I'm gonna let you know. And I was like, yeah, definitely let me know. So that's what I love about fishing and fishermen in general, is that I never met the guy in my life. I never met Michael. I never met Riley in my life before those tournaments. And it was like, he was like one of my friends that I already had for a long time, many years, because fishermen just connect, that in that the passion and love for fishing. So I really like and enjoy meeting fishermen that are better than me, and even fishermen that I don't think aren't necessarily better than me, because I can learn tons of stuff from other people, because that's how you stop your progression, is when you think that you're amazing, you're great, you don't have to get better at technique because you think you're good at it. But no one's truly a master of a bait or a technique. It's never ending. Like you can get better, and that goes for anything. You can get better at anything. You can't stop learning. So that's what I love most about fishing. So yeah, at this point, I get that text right at the end of the Rend tournament. It's like Mass Strauss standings. I didn't even get a place because I didn't catch any fish. And then it says in career in points, I'm 29th. So currently I'm 29th in the points right now, and I went all the way from 10th or 8th or 9th to all the way down to 29th. And yeah, that kind of stung a bit. You have to get top 45 in order to qualify for the regional, and that's on the Mississippi River. So I really cross my fingers. I'm hoping that I can get there, because that's the only place I've ever been to, multiple times, that I really think as a co-angler I can get that figured out, and I can know what to throw on there, at least what has worked for me in the past. And yeah, so and that's the closest tournament to me. I live in Illinois, but all these other tournaments are farther. They're all southern Illinois, so I'm not from there. I'm from the the Chicagoland area, and also Augustana College is all the way just all the way east or west of Chicago. It's always on the west part of Illinois, so northwest part of Illinois. So the southern Illinois is just not close to me at all, and it's Wisconsin, and the Mississippi River is really close to me. So yeah, I'm just super excited. I'm in Paducah, I think that's how you call it. That's what you call it, Paducah, Kentucky. Just about an hour or two south of Rend Lake and stuff like that. So I've only been to Kentucky one time, and it's been great. It's really green. It's hilly down here, and I'm also a park ranger on the Mississippi River in Muscatine, Iowa, and yeah, I'm used to the barges. I hear all these barges going by and the locks and dams and everything. So this is really reminding me of the Mississippi River, and I just think that I can do pretty well on the river. I prefer river fishing or very large lake, Great Lake fisheries. So I think this place will sit just right with me. And I'm going to have a video. I'm going to have a video tomorrow morning doing my, pre-tournament, I guess. I'm going to explain, what I think I'll throw, or, who I got paired up with, the conditions of the day. Right now it's about 88 degrees. It's pretty warm, pretty humid out today. The river doesn't look like it's, moving that fast. It's looking pretty still right now. And I don't know the water temp or anything like that, so all that I'll have to figure out tomorrow. But I'll have to see what levels the water's at, and all that stuff I'll talk in tomorrow's video. But I just want to thank you all again for listening, and I really appreciate you clicking on this video. This is my very first video, and I'm open to criticism and stuff like that. I don't have any GoPro or edits and stuff like that. I am not able to do that. I don't have my computer right now. So I apologize for not having any edits or anything like that. But if you have any, criticisms or critiques that I can work on and stuff like that, let me know in the comments. If you have any videos that you want to see, let me know in the comments. I'm a pond fisherman too, so I like to go, people like pond fishing and all that. If you want to hear more about my college experience and fishing for college, let me know about that. If you're interested in learning more about being a co-angler in the BFLs, comment about that. If you're interested in learning what I learned from Shelbyville, Rend, and the Mississippi, I fish St. Clair. I'm going to fish Erie pretty soon. So yeah, just let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to the first ever video of the Green Fishing Machines channel.